How to change grates in your Morbark Woodhog horizontal grinder. Replacing the worn grates on your Woodhog gives you the ability to perform at its best, maintains the quality of your end product, and will extend the life of your machine as well. The tools you will need to complete this task include a hoist or puller rod, a pry bar, a sledgehammer, a flathead screwdriver or scrapper tool, a come-along or chains with hooks, your lockout-tagout. Before beginning, ensure that you and anyone else who will be performing maintenance on the equipment is wearing the proper personal protective equipment. This includes a high-visibility safety vest, a hard hat, ear protection, and OSHA-approved safety glasses with side shields. All clothing should be close-fitting and tucked in. Wear a good pair of work pants and a good pair of steel-toe work boots with non-slip soles. Proper fitting leather work gloves are also recommended to protect the worker's hands. Before beginning, it is also important that you make sure that the work area on and around the equipment is free of debris and trip hazards, and that the equipment is on level ground. Before operating or performing any maintenance on your equipment, it is imperative that you complete the correct startup and setup procedures. Doing so not only ensures the safety of you and your crew, but it will extend the life of your machine and keep it running at its best. Before beginning, make sure all hydraulic control valves are in the neutral position. Ensure that the rotor has come to a complete stop before performing any maintenance. Failure to do so can result in serious injury or death. Locate the hood and yoke controls and turn the yoke up selector switch clockwise or to the right to raise the yoke. Once the yoke is raised, continue to hold the selector switch in the up position, while simultaneously turning the yoke selector switch clockwise to engage the yoke locks. The operator will then need to get onto the machine and attach the hood lift link bar from the hood. Position the link bar onto the top of the hood and secure by installing the link pin. Position the other end of the link bar into the yoke and secure with the link pin. Once installed, all personnel should be off of the equipment and on the ground. Turn and hold the lower hood selector switch counterclockwise or to the left to unlock the lower hood locks. The 4 hood locks will retract. Once the lower hood locks are retracted, release the lower hood lock selector switch. Turn the yoke up selector switch clockwise to raise the yoke. Once the yoke is raised, continue to hold the selector switch in the up position, while simultaneously turning the yoke selector switch counterclockwise to retract the yoke locks. Once the yoke locks have been retracted, release the yoke lock and yoke up selector switches. The yoke will begin to lower under its own weight towards the in-feed bed while simultaneously raising the hood. Verify all locks are fully disengaged and all pathways are free and clear of debris. If the yoke does not lower all the way, do not use the controls to force down. This could result in damage to components. Do not attempt to remove any material or obstruction from the machine unless all safety locks are in place and machine is safely powered off. Once the yoke is fully lowered and the hood is in the fully raised position, turn the upper hood lock selector switch clockwise to extend the upper hood lock pin, then release the switch. To open the hood door, turn the hood selector switch clockwise to raise the hood door. When the hood door is in the fully raised position, release the switch. Then, shut down the engine and perform the lockout-tagout procedure. Various hoist methods may be utilized in this process. Ensure only proper hoisting equipment and safe practices are used. Only certified service equipment with trained personnel should be used as support equipment during this process. Exercise caution when performing maintenance, handling, and changing grates, as failure to do so can result in severe injury or death. Prior to removing any grates, clear all debris along the track. Hook the come-along chain to the top grate installed and begin to lift out the grate channel, and once the grate is free of the grate channel, it can be lowered down and placed out of the way. It is important to keep the grate square with the sidewalls when removing to prevent binding the grate in the channel. Use the sledgehammer to loosen up each side of the grate as necessary. Using additional chains to provide a better pulling angle can also be useful in the final grate position. Once the grate is free of the grate channel, it can be lowered down and placed out of the way. Repeat this process for the remaining grates. Once all grates have been removed, properly clean the grate channel for any debris that may have accumulated. This is an important step to prevent issues when reinstalling grates. Replace grates by lowering them back down between supports and guides. Once grates are installed, verify that the grates are sitting flush to the grate track. This will ensure that the grates have been properly set. Verify all personnel and tools are clear of the machine and remove lockout tagout. You are now able to start the machine. To close the hood door, turn the hood selector switch counterclockwise to lower the hood door as applicable to model. When the hood door is in the fully closed position, release the switch. Then, turn the upper hood lock selector switch clockwise to retract the upper hood lock pin. Then, release the switch. Turn the yoke up selector switch clockwise to raise the yoke and reset the hood. Once the yoke is raised, continue to hold the selector switch in the up position, while simultaneously turning the yoke selector switch clockwise to engage the yoke locks. Turn and hold the lower hood lock selector switch clockwise to lock the lower hood locks. The 4 hood locks will engage. Once the lower hood locks are fully engaged, release the lower hood lock selector switch. An operator will then get onto the machine and remove the hood lift link bar from the hood and yoke and return to the storage position. Once stored, all personnel should be off of the equipment and on the ground. Turn the yoke up selector switch clockwise to raise the yoke. Once the yoke is raised, continue to hold the selector switch in the up position, while simultaneously turning the yoke lock selector switch counterclockwise to retract the yoke locks. The yoke will then lower under its own weight. Once the yoke is fully lowered, the grate changing procedure has been completed and the machine is ready for operation.